So the Pendlay Row is typically used for Olympic weightlifters, and the exercise was invented by a legend called Glenn Pendlay, may he rest in peace. It's a really useful exercise for developing rowing strength in end range of hamstring motion, which you may be thinking, what's the point? But if you can get strong in this position, you are demonstrating that you have very strong rowing musculature, so you have strong lats, you have strong rhomboids and lower traps, and you have the ability to row large amounts of weight. Tick number one. You're also demonstrating that you have very strong spinal stabilizing musculature. So your erector spinae muscles are strong and steady. Your glute is good at supporting those things. And again, your lats and your traps and your rhomboids and that sort of thing are also helping. So you can demonstrate that. Tick. And then you're also demonstrating that you are quite flexible in your posterior chain musculature, so your hamstrings, your glutes, and your lower back, and you can stabilize through a close to end range of motion whilst being strong everywhere else. It also demonstrates that you can control changes in balance. So as you're rowing the weight up, you obviously have to take into consideration that the weight is going from the ground supporting your balance to then not being on the ground to support your balance. As a bang for your buck exercise, it's fantastic. And there's ways to progress towards it. If you immediately don't have the range of motion to be able to get into that position, you can perform the raised version here. So you just get some blocks, raise that up, and you won't have to get into as deep a hamstring range of motion, but you're still performing the same movement. You're still performing the horizontal row. You're still getting all of the good stuff from it without having to be as flexible in the posterior chain musculature. But regardless of which one you use, if you're going to do this movement, there's a few things you have to consider. You want to make sure that when you're set up from the ground, you set up like a normal deadlift, and then you push your knees back till you feel tension in your hamstrings and glutes, like we would do with a dead start Romanian deadlift. But then instead of hinging at the hip, you're just rowing the bar from above your shoelaces to your belly button. What you want to do is basically as the bar comes towards you, or as you row it up towards your stomach, the bar is going to get pretty close to your shin. And if you can't get the bar past your knee without hitting it, then your range of motion isn't quite adequate to be able to do this particular version, and you may need to go to the blocked version. So bear that in mind if that happens to you. But once you've got that position set up, you've got tension in your hamstrings, you're rowing the bar to your belly button. You also want to firmly root your balance, so you want to make sure that you have an even distribution of weight on the inside, outside, and heels of your foot. So when you're raising up, you don't have much movement towards your heels, and when you're lowering down, you don't have much movement towards your toes either, because if your brain has to concentrate on balance, it's not going to be able to concentrate on maximum muscular activation.